My parents prioritize teaching me to fight more than manners, and for that I will be forever grateful. Except now, damn them, with utmost respect of course. I was a few steps from the worst case scenario, meeting Scout's parents, and a few words from catastrophe. It was a fancy dining hall. The ceiling was ludicrously and uselessly high. Giant windows let the two morning suns shine in a way that made almost anything look delicious. Along with the glass chandeliers that looked so delicate I was too afraid to make direct eye contact. It was some sort of cocktail dinner party event that I was too poor to recognize or care about. Regret not letting me buy you that suit now? Scout didn't really ask while we walked arm in arm. She had a fancy red dress that forcibly reminded me that aside from her personality, she's actually frustratingly beautiful, and not just frustrating. I looked down and saw my denim jeans, mahogany hoodie, and my classic black and white Vans. The rest of the outfit could possibly be misconstrued as a statement, but your hat makes you look homeless, she commented, and made herself go back to average looking while she smiled and waved at dismayed partygoers. She grabbed my patchwork cowboy hat and tried it on. See? Now my outfit is ruined, she smiled. That hat is the oldest thing I own. It's been on 2 planets and 1 moon, has bullet holes in it, and been thrown at hundreds of people in fistfights, aliens and humans. My hat is way more interesting than you. I smiled sarcastically and grabbed it. You brought your gun, right? Scout stopped waving and stood straighter. Yeah? Why? I looked around for anyone armed. Nothing. You're just about to meet my parents now. She touched my back to shock it straight. Oh crap, I whispered. Theseus, these are my parents, Mrs. and Mr. Skrarkan, Scout said casually. My vital function stops for a millisecond. Scout and I had a telepathic conversation for our eyebrows. You're a Skrarkan? As in your Sith great-grandma was the one who invented faster-than-light travel? My eyebrow twitched. Yes. Her eyebrows said tiredly. But your parents are blonde. I raised an eyebrow. I dye my hair red, idiot. Now act like a civilized person or I'll crucify you. She narrowed them. We turned back to her parents. Hello, nice to meet you. I offered my hand. Hello, they both said as they bowed slightly and ignored my hand. I panicked, shoved my hand in my pocket and bowed a little back. Scout grabbed my hand out of my pocket and tilted my head more down. I tried to sit down. Scout stopped me again. Oldest sits down first, she whispered. Her mum, then Dad, sat. Scout grabbed my chair and gestured for me to sit in the politest action she's ever done to me up to that point. Scout finally sat down. An awkward silence stabbed at everyone at the table. I looked over and saw a waiter, at least an assassin that happened to be wearing a waiter's clothes. When she turned back, I saw her place a small empty glass vial in her pocket. She walked over to us and offered us Grunter red wine. Like a magician, she gave everyone a free choice, and gave the last poisoned cup to me. Thank you, everyone else said. I got lightly elbowed in the ribs. Thanks, I forced a smile. Cheers. I raised my glass. They all looked at me funny. Sorry, human tradition. I put my glass down awkwardly. What would that be? Scout's mum asked in a deep, motherly tone. You bang your glasses together and say cheers, I shrugged, and admired the fancy white tablecloth. Why? Scout asked, and made her voice unnaturally polite and pleasant. Something about sacrificing our wine or sometimes blood to the gods. Honestly, I have no idea. Guessing something has to do with the gods is usually at least a quarter right. I stared at my poisoned wine. So, to the gods. I grabbed the flower vase in the middle of the table and poured the wine into it. Scout lightly slapped my thigh. Her mum gasped and her dad chuckled. The flower started to die, but nobody noticed. So, Theseus. Mr. Skrarkan said something, But I was too focused on the second assassin waiter, who quickly meandered towards me with plates full of food, malicious intent, and a knife-shaped lump in his suit. I turned back. Scout blushed something awful. Her mum looked pissed, and her dad had a self-satisfied smirk on his face. "Sorry, could you say that again? I saw something interesting over there," I said casually. Scout smiled and raised her chest. Her mum gave me a nod. Whatever satisfaction her dad did have left his body. He tried to save face and went back to a look of general victory. "I asked if you're having sex with my daughter, and if you intend on marrying her," he commanded more than asked. The assassin with a knife thankfully tried to stab me. Before he could reach me, I tripped him like he was 7-year-old me trying to get to my desk. I caught him before he noticed I was the one who did it. "You good there, boss?" I asked, and made sure to make direct, deeply uncomfortable eye contact with him. I patted him on the shoulder and pickpocketed his knife. "Yes, just fine. Thank you, sir." He awkwardly picked up the plates and walked away. I hid the knife up my sleeve and turned back to the table. "I think you startled him." I pointed back to the assassin while I gave Scout's dad the stink eye. He gave a hearty laugh. "You humans. When you started that revolution, no one thought you would win. When your general stole my weapons, I was the first to actually think you had a chance. Regardless, I must at least admire your species' collective audacity." He drank more of his wine. "Thanks. Sorry to say you aren't exactly mentioned other than that time in history class," I said, and wished I hadn't thrown away my poisoned drink. "I suppose not." He laughed some more. I looked around, somehow even more uncomfortable, and noticed a waiter in the corner of the room. He reached into his coat and pulled out a small dart gun. "Oh dear God, I can't take this anymore." I stood up. "Finally, let's be honest," Scout's dad said. "When are you planning on marrying my daughter?" He stood up and looked down on me. "What? I don't care about that. People keep trying to kill me." I heard a suppressed gunshot under the sound of glass that accidentally fell off a table. I grabbed my empty plate and blocked the dart from hitting me in the chest. I pulled out my peacemaker and fired a stun round at the attacker. The loud gunshot signaled everyone in the room to panic and scream. The dart gun guy started to spaz out on the floor from the taser round. I turned around and saw the person I took the knife from run at me with another knife. I shot him too. He dropped the knife and fell face first into a table, with a cream pie or something. I looked in the middle of the room and saw 6 people rush over to me with knives, while they yelled at the top of their lungs, with the lady who tried to poison me leading them. They had 3 more people than rounds I had in my gun. I grabbed the knife from my sleeve and tossed it uselessly towards them. They all easily dodged it. I looked around, desperately for something to do. I fired 2 quick shots at them, which missed terribly. Finally, I had one more idea. I looked up and shot the expensive glass chandelier above their heads. It crashed into them. I was surprised at how gentle, but thankfully still heavy enough it was to knock the fight out of them. It didn't seriously injure any of them, if you don't count their egos. I turned back to Scout's dad. "Me and Scout aren't dating. We're barely even acquaintances. I hate your stupid face, your security is terrible, thank you for the lovely dinner, and how's that for a blood sacrifice? Theseus out."